Alright, this is going to be a demo on how to play VGA Planets using the Planets.nu interface. So I'm going to start up the practice level here. And of all the races, I will select the Rebels because they are fairly straightforward, but they do have hyperspace, so that is also a useful thing to be aware of for those that have races with hyperspace. So I feel like this is a fairly simple race to start with that has a comprehensive overview. I will go straight to standard because there are certain features here that others might care to know about. The other two levels will simplify things like take away fuel requirements and take away supply requirements. So now the game is ready. We're going to start using this interface. So here we go. If you just hover over something, it'll display on the top right stats. So you can just point at things. This is also a checklist. It shows you all the things you need to do. So if you click on this guy, it takes you to your ship. First thing we want to do is start with the planet. So planet interface is this one here. Click on there. You can start building factories, mines, and defense. Early game, probably the best thing to do is to focus on your factories because each factory produces one supply a turn. So if you maximize 100 factories this turn, you'll get more next turn for supplies. If I don't change factories, this means I will only get 100 supplies next turn. But if I spend, that's my amount, one factory will cost a supply and 3 mega credits. If I spend and I go and I buy 10 factories, I've spent 30 mega credits and 10 supplies, but next turn I'll get 110. If I don't touch this for 3 turns, I've paid off what I spent on building those factories. So I can sit idle for 3 turns and just get 300, or I can invest now and in 3 turns time have 330. The 30 comes back to pay off what I spent, and then I've still got the 300 factories. So then from turn 4 onwards, I'm actually making what is a net profit. So I'm going to maximize factories a bit. We have a ludicrous amount of resources, so I'm just going to maximize it completely. Your population determines how many you can have. So when your population grows, see there, 261. When it grows next turn, I'll get more factories available. Mines, you can decide how much you want to mine based on your current stats, but for me, prioritize the factories. Defense, not very useful unless you have early game ships arriving, because mid-range ships are going to destroy most planet defenses anyway. So then we've built the factories. We want to focus on spreading out. So we take our ship, we can highlight this. It'll give you some stats. If you click on the icon, like where it is, where it's going to be next turn, you can rename the ship. You can put notes in if you're that inclined. But the most important things are explore is a mission. All ships have missions. And if your race is different, you'll get different missions. One thing you can do is change this, and it's probably a decent idea. Exploration is kind of a default, but when you reach a planet, it might give you more statistics than if you're not. But I'm going to do sensor sweep so I can scan for anyone within this radius here will be detected as I travel. If you don't have a primary enemy, if the ship ends up in the same zone as another race, it will not attack. And if you do not have this friendly code set to kill, it also won't attack. Because it's a freighter with no weapons, it can't attack. You would match your planetary friendly code with the ship if you want to do transfers with another race's planet. So you don't have to be allies, but you can have the same friendly code, and then you won't fight each other, and you can do trades. For now, I'm going to load up the ship for colonizing. You can just click on the left as a shortcut, and it maximizes it. So I'll drop it down. Now maximize supplies. This ratio is fairly arbitrary, but you'll also need some money so that you can, and I'll click in the middle so I don't maximize all the money. Every factory is 1 supplier and 3 credits. So that means 40 factories will cost at least that amount. So that's what we'll start with. Maybe you want some flexibility in case you actually decide you want to build defenses or mines. So we'll just do 200. Then you click OK. Oh, and you can see up here the ship has fuel. In an unlimited fuel game, you don't have to worry about this, but this will determine how much you burn fuel-wise, and the heavier your ship with the more fuel it has, the more it'll burn. So I'll just maximize the fuel tank. Now this guy is selected. If I click on any planet, you'll automatically set a waypoint for that planet, and that's the distance. The warp squared is how many light years you can travel in a turn. So because this planet is not that far away, I will get there in 1 turn, but I'm burning 9 fuel. So 18 light years away would require warp 5. See, takes 1 turn, burns 9 fuel. Warp 4 takes 2 turns because 4 squared is 16, and that's 18 light years away. But there's a little trick called a warp well. If I click on this guy right now, it says waypoint, Seti Alpha 1. Next turn it will be in deep space because it's got to take 2 turns to get there. But if I zoom in with the mouse wheel, this grid is a warp well. And what this warp well means is if you end up in a warp well square, the planet's gravity pulls you in. This would normally take 2 turns, but if I actually set destination to be the warp well, here, 4 squared to this point, unfortunately I won't make it because that's where I'll stop at the end of the turn because it's just too far away. But the idea is if I set it to warp 5 and I target the warp well, when I click on the ship, the waypoint is the warp well, not the planet. Let's see what happens if I end my turn in the warp well. This might save a bit of fuel. So that's what my ship's going to do. The planet, I think I've done everything I want to do, so I click tick, and watch here, one planet needs orders over here. Tick, that's disappeared. The ship, I've given it an order. I've told it to move to the warp well. Tick. Starbase. Now, the starbase, this guy has technology levels. Currently Tech 7 engine. That means I can build up to engine level 7 without spending money on researching technology. But I have very low other things. If I clicked on this ship and I highlight it, you'll see here that this guy, oh, that doesn't give the stats I want. That's unfortunate. I don't know why it's, oh, it's transwarp drive. It's got 1 engine, it's a transwarp drive. Right now, if I built another ship, I can build up to 1 engine level 7, unless I spend money. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say build ship. This is what's in my fleet, because that's my hull technology, level 1. That's all I can build. Oh, wrong box. See, I hate this interface. Select hull. This is what's available to me in my current tech. The lock means I have to spend more money to unlock it. So I'm going to do that. Click on this guy. He's a Falcon class escort. Click on that again. You can choose a different ship. I'm going to go with the Falcon because look here. The destroyer, 50 kilotons of cargo, but you need to use that for torpedoes, and it costs this amount. I want to colonize. I don't want to be doing combat. This is a deep space freighter, 200. It's like the guy I've got, but he's got 1 engine and no weapons. This guy has got 2 engines, which means he can tow any other ship in the game if he's got 2 engines. He's got pretty decent cargo and he's got weapons. So maybe not a bad ship. But I'm going, and that's 140 kilotons of cargo. I'm going with this guy, 120 kilotons of cargo. But I do have to upgrade my technology, which it'll do automatically. It'll cost an extra 100 to go to hull tech level 2. This guy's got 2 beams, but I can hyper jump, and that's what I want to show you. So I'm going to do that guy. Engine wise, I'm limited up to what I've got available. This guy, tech level 1, you can see the economies of scale for fuel burn. It's much more efficient to go at the level that the tech is of the engine, but I can go up to level 4, but it'll burn a lot more. And if I go all the way up to level 7, it means it's quite efficient up to level 7, then it scales out to 8 and 9. But a Falcon class is a hyperspace ship. I'm going to go with the lowest tech available, which is level 1. And then for beams, I can either focus on destroying ships or people. For now, let's go with killing people. So that's what I've done. He's now going to be built for the next turn. Click on this. 2 production points awarded because we weren't building a ship. Okay. And then the starbase itself can have a mission. I am going to say attack any fueled ships that come into my vicinity. And I think if you click on defense, there's an option to force surrender, but I don't know how to get there. Anyway, let's just end our turn. And here ends the first tutorial.